I figured there's nothing wrong with a little extra. Hey, YouTubies! It's another day working on Wanda, and we're getting close to finishing her up, so you guys gotta stick around and watch this whole episode to see if this thing gets fired up. Before we can get this puppy fired up, we gotta take this dang valve cover right the frick off over here, and it's just sitting, you know, like a villain. So what we're saying is, it's chilling like a villain to keep the dust out and protect the engine. What am I saying? I don't know. It was just sitting there to keep stuff out is what I'm saying. So we're gonna put this puppy, how about right here on Cody's front end? You know? No, I don't like that. How about in this box? Yeah. That's a good spot. Now we have access to the valves. And if you remember from last week, we loosened every one of these puppies up. So today's goal, this week's goal, whatever, is to get these things adjusted to the proper distance between using these things. You know? They're kind of like a Chinese umbrella. Or umbrella, I mean fan. Chinese fan. No, they're feeler gauges. I've never, ever done this on a Honda. Just like everything pretty much else. So, I've been doing like a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of videos. And I got the same feelers on all of them, but there's like a couple different techniques and it's kind of confusing. So I'm just gonna do it the way that makes sense to me. And hopefully it's correct. No guarantee. It's in the fine print. But it's definitely not gonna hurt me by any point of doing this by myself, because I could save tons of money. So what I do know is all these ones right here are the exhaust, all of them. And then all these ones up yonder way, yep, those are the intakes. The one guy that I liked, he said you can see these cam lobes. You can see how that's the tippy top. Let me get you some light. So you can see that cam lobe right there. Now what he's saying is when you want to adjust these valves, or I mean rocker arms, these lashes, whatever, when you're adjusting these, you want this side right here, you know, not the side that pushes on the valve, the side that pushes on the cam. You want it to be on the opposite side of the lobe, so it's on the like lowest point. Do you get what I'm saying? So what he was saying is you gotta make sure that the valves are all the way closed, you know? Yeah, closed. And then you get the proper distance within there with your little feeler gauges, and you use your screwdriver and your wrench, which who doesn't have a screwdriver and a wrench in their toolbox, right? It's a 12 millimeter. I don't know why I said 10. It's a 12 millimeter. So, as well as while that cam's got to be, you know, in the right spot. So you obviously got to rotate the motor counterclockwise in this case because it's a Honda thing. Counterclockwise, like quarter turns or half a turns. I'm not for sure. There was two different answers what I can find. So what I'm gonna do is do quarter turns and make sure that the rocker arms are, you know, at the lowest point of the cam lobe, and then I'm gonna adjust it. Pretty simple, right? I don't know. For sure things though, it'll be close enough for this guy. As you guys know, we just did the timing belt last week, right? So we're already pointed up on the number one cylinder and make sure that we're in the right position. And we spun her over, you know, to make sure that the belts were riding properly. Now that we're, you know, in the position for number one, we can, I believe, do the exhaust first and then we rotate and rotate and rotate. And then the firing order is 1, 3, 4, 2. Pretty simple, you know. And 1 is obviously this side with the timing belt because it's the front of the engine, and because that's what the internet everywhere I could find says too. So it's gonna work. And I'm gonna quit rambling and do something for a minute, okay? Alright, so this is what I'm talking about. I'm about to show you. You see, these two are the first two I'm gonna do because it's number 1 and it's exhaust. But if you look down in this hole with some light on it, I don't know if you can see, but that cam lobe is at the bottom. It's facing downward. Can you see it? Well, I can. And what I'm telling you guys is that it's down. So now I can adjust those puppies to the, what they say, exhaust valve should have clearance between 0.9 and 11. So you know what that means? We're gonna go right in the middle. You know? And that's what the feeler gauge says. And then we just stick her in here like so. And we tighten that down till this barely touches, you know, to where you can feel it touch, but you can still get it out. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. So, pretty simple. Okay, so I did this one off camera. And look at that feeler gauge go right in there. Whoop. You know, she slides in and out. And then look at this one. You know, like, look at the gap or rooney in there. Can you see the other one back here? Ooh. So now we're gonna do this one the same. Alright, so this is how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna use the screwdriver, get her close, which is whoop right there. You can just see, you know, like, look, now you come over, she's tight. So let's back her up with a little, no resistance, just a little bit of resistance. Not right where I want it, just a tiny bit of resistance. So now I get my wrench and I just, oop. Give her a little lock. Ooh. She didn't move. It's got just a little resistance on her. Make sure that one don't move. You don't want that to move. Boom. And it's set. You got just enough drag in there. And then, you know, since you have them done, you might as well double check them that they both feel the same. And they do. You know, perfect. You know, just perfect. I do want to mention that I said those nuts are 12s millimeter. You know, I was wrong. No, they're 10s. Like I said the first time, nah, they 10s. Now, I also did get number 3 done here. So I also rotated the motor over again, and we're about to do 4. And then we could do 2. And then we could do the whole process again on these back ones that look way much harder. With, you know, the different clearance of what, 9 to 11 thousandths or something. I probably wrong. I think it's 7 to 9. Yeah, that sounds right. Now, pretty much as you've seen, they're tight, they're proper, and I did do another spinny and checked them all again to make sure they stayed the same, so we're good there. Here is the aftermath. It don't look any different. That's right. Now we can focus on the valve cover gasket and all them goodies and stuff. And then once the valve cover goes on, we can start worrying about the hoses and whatever electrical stuff is left, like the distributor needs to go on. And then a double check on like all the bolts and all the electrical clips and everything that we touched pretty much. As well as come down here and get the cross member put back on. I do have some good news. I did buy a new header just because the cost seemed to be smarter to buy a new header kit because of the gaskets. And then the little flexi part would have been about the same amount of money as just buying a whole new kit. Granted, it was just a little cheapo header, but I don't care. It'll look cool. I am waiting for that to come in the mail, but it should be here within a couple days. So, we'll see though. But in the meantime, we can continue on. You know, valve cover things. First things first. Obviously, clean gasket mating surfaces. Second step, get your favorite glue and put them in the corners of these, you know, goop installed. And I went ahead and went around the whole hump because, you know, I kind of got a little excessive. I figured there's nothing wrong with a little extra. This is how I like to do this valve cover gasket in particular, because it's kind of a pain and it's a little big, you know, so it doesn't like to stay in the cover. So the goop holds these down and I fit her down slowly and reach my fingers around and get her all tucked in there properly. Here's our beautiful ugly valve cover. It's a little oily. Give her a wipey. Come on, little buddy. Play nicely. Wow. I don't know why it's being such a pain today. Alright, so now we just got some dabs in the valve cover to hold her on. Will it stay? Probably not. All right. Not too bad. You know, a couple tries and a couple dad alert words, you know what I'm saying? It's in there. And I don't know if you can see that gasket is just that blue one just poking its head all the way around. Now the back side over here is a little harder to see because all the stuff in there, but it looks like it's all the way around. The only part I can't see is really behind this cover. So hopefully the goop held it. But this one looks good. And I feel like if the goop held this one, then the goop held that one. I'm down to the final few parts here. I've got the cross member to put in the bottom. Then I got the new exhaust on its way. And then this is my box of goodies that's left that we started with. You know, these are those turn parking light bulb things. They go there. Then we got the PVC valve. That goes right there. That's pretty easy. The lift kit. What? This Honda's getting lifted? Are you kidding me? You're right. It's getting lifted. So that brand new suspension that we just installed a couple months ago, more like a year ago, that never got used because it's been parked for so long, it's about to get taken out to be able to get longer bolts and you put back in type stuff. Man, I'm getting excited. Once my header gets here, I'll be able to put a key in it and a battery in it and fire this puppy up. And man, it's been, like I said, about a year. So I'm pretty pumped and I'm pretty excited. I hope you guys are too. Continuing the work in here. I got our distributor we are taking apart. And if you see that rotor, you know, I marked it. You see that scrape? So that's pointing at number 1. Now we just got a, you know, sticker in here and make sure that those fins line up with, you know, the lines in there. So that's the goal. Got the distributor installed, put the cap on it, and laid the wires down. Left this one out because the plug needs to go in. These are just sitting here. Still got the PVC cap. I want to torque these down to the proper setting. But before I do that, I'm gonna lay under this car here and get to doing the cross member piece on the bottom side, because I've been dreading doing it this whole time. I might as well just get it done and over with so I don't have to think about it no more. This is the cross member I'm talking about. It's just a little guy. We got her scraped down mostly. There's some gunk here and there, but it's close enough, good enough for me. Sneak her under there. Then I think I got my bolts. I'm not for sure if they're correct ones, but they're gonna work because that's what's left. Alright. Time to get under here, Mikey. Oh man, pulling my hair. What are you doing? Oh. Okay. Seems familiar. Like I've been down here before. So here's under the car here. This is that cross member I just put in, that I was just telling you guys about, that I was gonna put in. I also got this little like metal thing here that just bolts in to cover up and hold the selector cable in. Got that real quick because I noticed it while I was down here. So we're getting super close. I'm practically waiting on my header at this point now to be able to get this thing fired up. So we're just gonna have to call it a night and wait a few days till it shows up. A few days have passed, so that means we have received the header we are waiting for. It is in the possessions of these hands. In this box we have the goodies we need to fill a hole in this engine bay. I also got me a K&N oil filter, some oil, some treatment, you know, treatment, some Loctite, you know, and then as well as some bolts for our exhaust. So once I figure out how to get the 12 volts to this thing, because I killed the battery, we'll be able to fire this puppy up again. But for right now, let's just get this, header on. You know, we'll worry about the voltages later. Woo, baby. Look at that shining thing. Yep, that's gonna look way better. Don't worry, we got that gasket on there, and we got the surface cleaned up beforehand. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I know there's a few of you that freaked out for a second. Woo, doggy, that downpipe down here just looks so good and mighty fine. While I was down here, I went ahead and hooked up the catalytic converter, you know, so we would ride smooth like a Cadillac. No, I'm just kidding. So we would keep emission stuff and not get in trouble. And then I moved on further and bolted the resonator pipe and then the downpipe down there. We came back here, got the muffler on and that shiny new tip. Didn't want to bore you guys by showing you that again, since I showed you guys a couple weeks ago. But it was just bolting it in, you know, so really wasn't that fascinating anywho. So now that we got an exhaust on here, I think we could throw some oil in this puppy, and then we got to worry about our battery. And that I don't have figured out yet, because the one I got's dead. Whoo, doggy, guys, it's another day, obviously. And well, I went to the Walmart where I bought the battery from, and I was gonna warranty it, but then they were like, well, we gotta check it. And there was some guy that had the same idea as me right at the same time, so it would have been a 3-hour wait. And to be honest, I'm supposed to be sleeping right now because I work in the night like an owl. So I was like, well, instead of doing that, why don't I just buy a battery charger? And, well, the battery charger here, it keeps fighting me. And it's not wanting to do its charge latent because this battery's so dead. So what I'm going to do now is run these jumper cables to this battery here. And we're going to charge both these batteries at the same time. Hopefully, you know, we're gonna give it a shot to our best of our abilities to get this car started today, just so we can hear it make a little noise and I can get you guys a video this week, because I am running behind like really bad. So for now, I'm gonna leave this configuration together for an hour or two, maybe 3. You know, keep coming checking in on this little puppy here. And we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I'm gonna start going and maybe editing this video or something. You know what I'm saying? Alrighty, guys, it's been a couple hours. The video is mostly edited at this point for me. Obviously it is completely if you're watching it, right? But I took a dang shower. You could tell by my shiny hair, if you're wondering. But, you know, I came out here and this puppy, you know, I don't know if you could see that, says almost 100. So to me, that's close enough. I already disconnected my spare battery, and that puppy was reading 13.2 volts. So I'm gonna disconnect this battery charger here, and we're gonna check what the voltages is on them puppies. Alright, so here we go, disconnected. 13.28 volts, that sounds good to me. So to be safe, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect this coil. Maybe not, because it seems to be stuck in there real good. Okay, so what I did is just unplug the coil. And what that'll do is make sure the engine will rotate a few times, so we can make sure that the compression, you know, when the motor turns over, it's not all over the place, is what I'm saying. So we gotta make sure that we're somewhat even by sound, enough to your liking. And then I'll plug it back in and we'll see how she does. Key in it. We got noises. Alrighty. So it definitely didn't sound the smoothest, but it didn't sound the terribliest either. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the coil back on and we're gonna see if she's gonna fire up, you know. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna put the key in and start it, and I'm gonna have Grandma, she's gonna hold the camera for me while I fire it up, and hopefully if something explodes, you guys can see it first before me. Plug that coil in. Check our voltages real quick. 13 volts. Now see if she'll run. We're not gonna run her long now because, you know, she's got no coolant. Did you guys hear that? There was no knocking, there was no crazy ticking, just a crazy old loud squealing belt like a mofo. And it's probably loose and low on fluid because, you know, it probably got drained out while it was taken apart. But I'm gonna say, man, that was a freaking success because this car has not ran in about a year, all right? So she ran for the first time. She sounded good, and she sounded decently quiet so the neighbors won't get mad. And I feel like I did the timing belt and the head gasket and the exhaust work and everything else we did, the valve lash and the seals and all the stuff we did. I feel like a badass, okay? So, if you guys want to see me get this thing running real good, timed and stuff, you guys gotta subscribe to the channel and come back next week or the following week because I might got something different planned for next week. So give me a big old thumbs up and like this video, man, and give me a comment. Don't forget, we're here for a good time, not a long time, so you gotta stay motivated. I thank y'all for watching. Come back next week, please. Yeah. Woo!